What if everything you know about making dua is backwards? You've been taught to beg, to plead, to repeat the same words over and over, hoping volume will reach heaven. You list your problems like a shopping list, waiting for Allah to fix them one by one. But listen closely. Don't make dua like this. That's Ibn Arabi's warning. And he didn't say this lightly. Ibn Arabi, who spoke with the divine in ways few humans ever have, said, when you pray like this, you're not opening a door, you're closing it. Stay until the end, because what he taught will completely transform your prayer. Everyone thinks prayer is about asking. The more desperate you sound, the more Allah will listen. The louder your need, the faster the answer comes. This is what we've been taught since childhood. But Ibn Arabi discovered something that contradicts everything. He said the problem isn't that Allah doesn't hear you. The problem is where your prayer is coming from. And most people, even the most devout, pray from a place that Allah never responds to. Not because He's cruel, but because that place was never meant to speak to Him. Ibn Arabi spent 40 years in seclusion, 40 years speaking to very few people, listening to even fewer. But when he emerged, what he said about prayer shook the foundations of how people understood dua. He wasn't a scholar who read books. He was a man who lived between worlds, the seen and unseen, the spoken and the silent. Kings sought his counsel. Mystics traveled months to sit at his feet for 1 hour. And about prayer, he said something so simple it sounds impossible. Yet everyone who tried it wept at what happened next. He said, when you beg, you confirm your separation from Allah. Read that again. When you beg, you confirm your separation. You think begging shows humility. But Ibn Arabi said begging comes from a belief that you are here and Allah is there, that you are empty and He is full, that you must convince Him to give you what He's withholding. But this entire foundation is false, and as long as you pray from this belief, your dua will circle back to you unanswered. Not because Allah is testing you, not because you're unworthy, but because you're speaking from the ego, the part of you that sees itself as separate, lacking, desperate, and the ego cannot reach Allah. It was never designed to. Think about the last time you made dua. Really think. Were you asking, or were you demanding proof that you matter? Were you surrendering, or were you negotiating? Ibn Arabi could tell the difference. And he said most people spend their entire lives praying from the wrong room of their own house. But here's what will disturb you even more. It's not just about the words you say. It's not about raising your hands higher or crying louder or memorizing more Arabic. Those things can be part of it, yes, but they're not the heart of it. The heart of it is something Ibn Arabi discovered one night when he stopped asking Allah for anything at all, when he simply sat in silence, hands empty, heart open. And what happened in that silence changed not just his prayer, it changed his entire existence. There was a man in Damascus, a merchant, wealthy, respected, known for his charity and his piety. Every prayer time, he would raise his hands and ask Allah for more success, more protection for his family, more honor in the community. For 20 years, he prayed this way, and for 20 years, his life grew, but his heart shrank. He had everything he asked for, but inside, he felt hollow, like a cup that could never be filled, no matter how much water poured in. One day, he heard Ibn Arabi was passing through the city. He found him sitting alone near a well, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that had no names. The merchant approached. "Master," he said, "I've prayed my entire life." I give in charity. I fast beyond Ramadan. But I feel nothing when I pray. It's as if my words disappear into empty air. Ibn Arabi didn't look at him. He kept watching the sky. Then he said, "What do you ask for when you pray?" The merchant listed everything: his business, his children, his health, his reputation. Ibn Arabi finally turned to him. His eyes were like still water, reflecting everything, holding nothing. "You ask for what you already have," he said. The merchant frowned. "I don't understand." "You ask Allah to give you a life. But you already have life. You're living it right now. You ask Him to love you, but He created you from His own breath. You ask Him to see you, but His gaze is the only reason you exist." The merchant felt something crack open in his chest. "Then, what should I ask for?" Ibn Arabi smiled, soft as candlelight. "Don't ask for anything. Just remember Him, not with your tongue, with your existence. Let every breath be a prayer, not words, presence." The merchant stood there as the sun disappeared and darkness wrapped the world. And for the first time in 20 years, he prayed without words, just presence. And he wept, because finally, for the first time, he felt heard. This is where it gets deep, because what Ibn Arabi taught isn't just about prayer technique, it's about what prayer actually is. You think prayer is you talking to Allah. But Ibn Arabi said, prayer is Allah speaking through you to Himself. You are not separate from the conversation. You are the place where the conversation happens. And once you understand this, everything about how you pray will change. But first, you need to know the 5 mistakes that block this understanding. Ibn Arabi said there are 5 places people pray from, and only one of them reaches Allah. First, the place of want. This is where most people live. You pray from lack, from fear, from the belief that you don't have what you need, and Allah might, if you ask correctly, give it to you. But Ibn Arabi said this place is too low. Prayer from want is the ego crying out, and the ego's voice doesn't travel beyond itself. Second, the place of duty. You pray because you're supposed to. 5 times a day, you go through the motions. The words are correct, the posture is correct, but your heart isn't in it. Ibn Arabi said this prayer is like a letter with the right address, but nothing written inside. Third, the place of bargaining. This is subtle. You pray and think, if I'm good enough, patient enough, grateful enough, then Allah will answer. You're still negotiating, still trying to earn what is already yours. Ibn Arabi said this is closer to the truth than want or duty, but it's still transactional, and the divine doesn't transact. It gives freely or not at all. Fourth, the place of gratitude. Now you're getting warmer. You pray not to get something, but to thank Allah for what already is. This is beautiful. This opens doors. But Ibn Arabi said even gratitude can carry a trace of separation. You thanking Him as if you are two. Fifth, the place of union. This is where Ibn Arabi prayed from. Not asking, not thanking, not even speaking. Just existing in the awareness that there is no separation between your breath and His will. That your heart beats because He wills it to beat. That your prayer is His prayer through you. When you pray from this place, you don't ask for anything because you realize you are already swimming in an ocean of answered prayers. Every heartbeat is an answer. Every breath is mercy. And from this place, Ibn Arabi said, dua becomes not a request, but a recognition. Most people make 3 fatal mistakes when they pray, and these mistakes keep them stuck in the first 3 places: want, duty, or bargaining. Mistake 1. praying only when you need something. This teaches your soul that Allah is a problem solver, not a presence. That prayer is a vending machine, not a relationship. Ibn Arabi said this is why your prayers feel transactional, because you've made them transactional. Mistake 2. Filling every moment with words. You raise your hands and immediately start talking. Listing, asking, explaining. But Ibn Arabi said the most powerful prayers happen in the silence between your words. When you stop talking and simply listen, when you let the space between your heartbeat and your breath become the prayer itself. Mistake 3. Believing Allah is far away. This is the root of all the other mistakes. You pray as if Allah is distant, as if your dua has to travel across some great chasm to reach Him. But Ibn Arabi said, He is closer to you than your jugular vein. Not metaphorically, literally. The divine is not somewhere else. It's the very ground of your being. So when you pray as if Allah is far, you're praying to an illusion, and illusions don't answer. If you've been making these mistakes, don't feel shame. Feel relief, because now you know. And once you know, you can change. Not tomorrow, right now. In the next moment, you call His name. This could be why your prayers feel empty, why you've been asking for years and nothing changes, why your hands rise but your heart stays heavy. It's not that Allah isn't listening, it's that you've been speaking from a place He doesn't respond to, not out of cruelty, out of design. The ego was never meant to reach the divine. Only the heart can make that journey, and your heart only speaks when the ego finally goes quiet. Think about the last time you felt truly heard, not by Allah, by anyone, maybe by a friend, a parent, a child. What made you feel heard? It wasn't just their words, it was their presence, the way they stopped everything else and just existed with you. No fixing, no solving, just being. That's how Allah wants to hear you, not your list of problems, not your desperate bargaining, just your presence, your heart, bare and open, saying nothing and everything at once. And if you keep praying the old way, from want, from duty, from fear, you'll spend the rest of your life speaking to a ceiling. But if you shift, even slightly, into presence, into union, into the awareness that you and Allah are not two separate things negotiating across a void, everything changes. Your dua becomes a homecoming, and the answers you've been searching for, they were always there. You just couldn't hear them over the noise of your own begging. Ibn Arabi taught a practice. It's simple. So simple it sounds like nothing. But those who do it report that their entire relationship with prayer transforms within days. Here's what you do. Step 1. Find a quiet moment, not during your 5 daily prayers. Those are different. This is additional. Dawn is best when the world is still asleep and the veil is thin. But any time will work if you bring the right presence. Step 2. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Don't pray yet. Just sit, breathe. Let the noise in your mind settle like dust in still water. No phone, no distractions, just you and the silence. Step 3. Place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. This heartbeat, it's not yours. You don't make it beat. Something beyond you, deeper than you, keeps it moving. Ibn Arabi said this heartbeat is Allah's dhikr, His remembrance of you beating inside your chest. Step 4. Say one word, not a sentence, not a paragraph. One word, Allah. That's it. Say it softly, from your heart, not your throat. And then listen, not for a voice, for a feeling, a shift, a sense of presence. Step 5. Don't ask for anything. This is the hardest part. Your mind will want to jump in with requests. Stop it. For these few minutes, just exist in the presence. Let the saying of His name be enough. Let the beating of your heart be the conversation. Step 6, repeat daily, every morning or every night, but make it consistent. Ibn Arabi said, the heart is like a door. It only opens with regular knocking, not loud knocking, gentle, persistent, patient. After 1 week of this practice, then you can bring your requests. But Ibn Arabi said by that point, most people don't want to ask anymore because they realize they're already held, already seen, already answered. The prayer becomes not about getting something you lack. It becomes about recognizing what you've always had. When you start praying this way, watch what happens. The first thing you'll notice is that your prayers stop feeling like effort. They start feeling like relief, like setting down a heavy bag you didn't realize you were carrying. The second thing is that answers come, but not always the answers you expected. Because when you stop praying from want, Allah gives you what you actually need, not what your ego thinks it needs. And sometimes what you need is not a new job or a healed body. Sometimes what you need is the strength to endure, the wisdom to see, the peace to accept. The third thing, and this is the most profound, is that you'll start feeling Allah's presence outside of prayer. In your daily life, in the way sunlight falls through a window, in the sound of your child's laughter, in the quiet moments between tasks. Because once you learn to recognize His presence in prayer, you start seeing it everywhere. And that's when you realize all of life is dua. Every moment, an answered prayer. You are not broken. Your prayers are not unheard. You've just been speaking from the wrong room. Ibn Arabi spent his life teaching people how to find the right room, the place inside you where the ego goes silent and the heart finally speaks, the place where prayer is not about words but presence, not about asking but remembering. Tonight, when you pray, try it differently. Don't list your problems. Don't beg. Don't bargain. Just sit in silence, hand on your heart, and say His name once, softly, like a secret between you and the one who made you, and then listen, not with your ears, with your existence. You might not hear anything, but you'll feel something. And that feeling is the beginning of prayer the way Ibn Arabi knew it, the way it was always meant to be. If this changed how you see prayer, share it with someone who's been struggling with their dua, someone whose hands are tired from reaching up into silence. Let this be the whisper that reminds them they were heard all along.